Good morning. Hello, it's Susan Vonderhaar here from Brown Mackie, Cincinnati. Weather's beautiful. How are you today?
I'm doing good, Susan. It's much more beautiful here in Tucson, Arizona.
Probably.
Oh, yes, I should be proud of. I'm here.
Yeah.
So, uh, let's go ahead with the discussions.
Yeah.
Share screen our PowerPoint presentation here.
Yeah, that'll be great. Thanks for sharing that.
Is that the one? I don't think so. Hold on. I'm sorry about that.
That's okay.
Did you get that one?
I see a Zoom thing. I got to share. I saw share at this end. That's interesting. What I have is the screen now that you've taken care of business for Zoom.
Okay. 1 second here. Resume share.
Yeah, Agnes is trying to get our little PowerPoint that we prepped in advance for this meeting up, and we actually had a pre-meeting and she had it up, and now, of course, like she said, with technology, you never know.
Yes, I think it's one of those days. Okay, let me open this up. Hopefully it's here.
We're also waiting for April. Here we go. Here's our little leveraging online content PowerPoint. Go through the questions that our instructor prompted us, and maybe April will be joining us shortly. April Williams was supposed to log into this meeting as well, but we've introduced ourselves, so let's move to the second slide, please, Agnes.
Sure.
So would you like to start, Agnes, with the question of what are some of your best practices for discussion?
The first question for our discussion for today is, what are some of your best practices for promoting effective discussions? And for me, one of the, I think you have to put on or use the subject line, try to focus on what it relates, make it as much as possible simple, and for your students to go on and discuss it, because I think being simple and being, having that clarity in that particular subject matter is much more important. And secondly, I think it's just you creating the good and right questions. There is, when we say right questions, you have to make it an open-ended question. And that will make the flow of the discussion very smooth. And then second, I think when we do it in a right way, that is, you lead. As an instructor, we are leading them or guiding them to the right path and not just going out of the path of that particular focus in that particular subject. How about you, Susan?
Right. Yeah, there was something you said earlier. I'll have to think on that. About just titling it right. Absolutely. That brings that clarity and focus immediately. That's a good point. I like to do I teach environmental science, and my goal is always to have them connect personally to what, this meaning in their lives. And, that subject really lends itself well to that kind of, thoughtful consideration.
Yes, it's true, actually. Sorry to butt in. It is true, especially if it's with their own personal experience, I guess. That would help a lot, isn't it?
Right, yeah. And I always ask them in every thread, the final question, and it's worth 10 points. What personal impact does this information have on you? I tell them in the class, if you don't answer this question, you can't get more than 90, because this is 10 points. You have to tell us why or why not,
Right.
I don't care, but why don't you care, and I've had them say, well, the world's going to hell in a handbasket, there's nothing I can do. So then we're able to disagree with them and tell them, why are you getting out of bed in the morning then?
That's true. That's true. So those are, I think those are one of my, for me, are the most important thing that I target on. And then continuity, you know, being, you know, not only moderating the discussions, but being supportive, I think, to what they would like to discuss, and follow-ups. Of course, you have to have follow-ups. You have to be there. You have to always feel them that you're present, especially I think in a blended discussion.
Right.
You know,
Right.
I think that's one of the important things. Being engaged and being connected to the students.
Yeah, it makes all the difference. I know the students are, you know, so encouraged or discouraged if you don't sign in, but it's such an easy way to encourage them.
Correct. Correct.
I want to add another thing that I do when I'm very specific about the peer responses. I give them a lot of points for the peer responses, and I tell them specifically, I want them to respond to their classmate with what they agreed with and why.
Yes.
What they learned from them specifically, and if there was something they disagreed with or need some more clarification from that student. I'm very specific, and you know, like for 15 points, you know, you got like five points each for these responding.
Correct. And I think in addition to that, for the peer response is that each and one of them should respect their responses. You know, of course, there will be some disagreements, but also as an instructor, we are there to give them a little of guidelines, okay, you know, so as not to have that confrontational, you know, or argumentative, you know, discussion. It's nice to have an argumentative, but in a way that they have to respect each other, isn't it?
Right, absolutely. I've been very lucky. I haven't come across any disrespect, like the example that Doug gave us about the students arguing over art. It's like, wow, I I don't know what I'd do if that happened. I'd want to like erase their posts or something. I don't know. But I have had students say, I don't like to post in the threaded discussion. So it must be like they've asked me, can I put it in the Dropbox? Can I put it in a journal?
Did you ever ask why? Did you ever ask why, Susan?
Yeah, I just don't want my stuff out there. You know, that's the kind of response. Yeah. So obviously there has been, you know, difficulties and confrontations, like you say, that were unpleasant. There had to be, because it's, you know, it's been a handful of times, but the students were insistent. I just don't post. Yeah.
So what do you do? Do you just?
Well, I told them that, you know, they got to do it. It's the assignment, but I give them, you know, the option to wait another week. I say, well, no one's going to be looking at it in another week.
Right.
So you can do it then, and you know. Oops, my dog. Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. My dogs. That must be a squirrel running outside. Or our neighbor walking their dog. I get very excited when the neighbor walks their dog. So the downside of Zoom meetings. I'm just kind of waiting for them to pass. Otherwise, I just have to get up and yell at them. That's going to be unpleasant too.
Do you want to go to on the second slide?
Yeah, absolutely. Let's move
so
on.
Is this hopefully this discussion on our first slide, you know, supplements our responses?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah. I think so. Good.
Second discussion is what are some of the ways you personally can use feedback to promote a learning dialogue and productive relationship with the students in your class? So you start, Susan.
Yeah, well, I think we, you know, being very chatty and engaging with each other here have already kind of gone along to answer this, but I made some notes earlier. I mean, here's one thing that I always like to do. I mean, obviously you praise the students and you're encouraging and ask questions of them. And, you know, I'd like to keep that enthusiasm, which is genuine for me when they start to think about, you know, this, my subject. And but something that I learned from a department chair of mine at one time, she says, if you post your initial post to the threaded discussion before the deadline by a pre-deadline time, I will go in and let you know if there's anything missing so that you can edit it for, you know, more points. And then that way you're getting students to do a double check, right? Plus you get your grading done, you know, a little earlier. And you know, so I thought that was a good technique, because there'll be those handful of students that are very eager for that perfect score.
Correct.
Will get in there, and they usually have some of the best considered responses, so it's a good jump on it.
Yes, and I think, as for me, I think giving them the prompt feedback right away, because they always, I mean, you don't want them to wait. Okay, how did I do, or how am I doing? You know, it's not like you have to say, oh, let's talk it for next week, or maybe I'll give you your feedback next week. I don't think that's the right thing. I think after every discussion, you know, for me, promoting or prompt feedback, give the feedback right away. Make it more credible, I think, is one thing too. And I always clarify my role. I'm not here just to grade you, but if I give you feedback, criticisms, it's just for you to learn. I think that's one way in promoting or learn that there is a productive relationship, that, you know, helping them if there is some contradiction with that particular discussion, helping them or letting them know what it means. What do you think?
Right, yes. You know, I think it really comes down to, obviously, you know, a respect, you know, for these students, and everyone counts, you know.
Yes.
Your opinion matters.
Trust. I mean, you have to trust each other. I mean, I trust my students really, that they are really doing a good job, especially with my, you know, both my associates and bachelor's degree program in healthcare. I think, and plus the fact they are really doing well, and they don't like stop me from giving them feedbacks. They always like feedbacks in the first place. I am so surprised. They love to get feedbacks, whether it be, you know, there's not what we call right or wrong feedback. Actually, there is always like only just guiding them, just letting them know, this is the feedbacks that I'm giving you is because for you to learn, or maybe to improve what you need to do the next week or the next day after each class. So that's how I do it.
Yeah, well, it's obvious you respect your students, and that's, you know, I'm sure they sense that, you know, and by being prompt to respond to them in the threaded discussion is one of those ways to build that trust. That
that's true. That's true. That's the most important thing. And I always, I think, clarify your role. You know, there needs to be a two-way relationship, I guess, right? And I think being you try to be a role model in the first place. So like from our you know, the content from Doug's, you know, class, or the what do you call this? He also, I think, placed there about walk the talk, be a model. So I think that's also very, very important.
Right, absolutely. Pardon me. You know, that brings us actually to our next slide, which is the reviewing that content that, you know, from the past week's learning that we shared.
And I am really very impressed on all our reading, on all the contents. You know, it did help me. It did help me really, truly, you know, and it's an eye-opener for me how we are discussing hopefully our recording, helps with this week to Friday discussion. Yes.
Right. And then he's sent that PowerPoint by email, and
yes,
going through it, and it said use headphones to. Oh yeah, there's a great idea. I'll go get my headphones. And Doug is wonderful. He really is a great. I've had the pleasure of him being like review me as a what do you when the in-class observation, and just gave really all the best supporting kudos, as well as really spot on helpful critique. And
that's why this slide is for you, Doug, because without you we really won't learn. I mean, we're learning a lot, right, Susan?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. And in such an engaging way. He's a media whiz, so he's got all that good stuff, videos, and just the presentation of having each item, so many topics under each week. And
true.
I would always have him, well, see the Dropbox, see the Webliography, but no, he's got it right there, and how convenient, and that just flows, and makes you feel like you're in the classroom.
That's why I'm saving all this, this media content, those readings that he shared to us. Hopefully, I know it's too sad that we're closing, but hopefully we can still carry this on,
right,
when we go along in our, in our new paths.
Yeah. Absolutely. So I was wondering about some, we said earlier to, refer to some of these things that we've already discussed, but that joining early and often, and that thread of discussion, you've said it several times. And, that's got to be prime. That's got to be the most, having an engaging discussion in the first place that uses technology to support it, and asks the right open-ended questions. That's all well and good, but nothing's going to establish and facilitate the continued higher learning than that instructor coming in and adding their 2 cents worth. And I want to say something else, like what's so wonderful about teaching adults, and these adults that we teach that have these rich life experiences, it's really interesting, and you learn from them.
Yes.
I really do.
It's not only them learning from us, but we learn from them as well through their experiences, I guess.
And sometimes they'll make a statement that's so concise and so spot on, and it's like, wow, that is so insightful. And I use that, moving forward. I'll say, like a student of mine once said, you have to. So
that's true. That's true. Yes, that's the reason, I guess, that two-way communication is very important. They learn from us, and we learn from them as well. I mean, as let's say, as one of the baby boomers, I learned a lot from the young ones, and it's really something that I have to really accept. Acceptance is very important as well.
Right.
It's not like closing. Oh, this is what I learned. I'm your instructor. Why am I learning from you? No.
Right.
It's always an open, channel.
Right. And all this technology is opening so many new channels for us. All at once, the channels are open and pouring in.
Yes. So that does it. This concludes our PowerPoint presentation, right, Susan?
Absolutely.
Okay, so let me just close this. Hold on. Well, I know I'm still recording it. So bear with us, dog. This is the first time. So let me just minimize that. Okay, now, where are we now?
I still see the screen, the PowerPoint.
Oh, you do?
I do.
Okay.
Maybe I need to do something else.
No, hold on.
No,
because.
Oh, there we are.
Okay. So it hopefully I am. Yes, I'm still recording this. Okay.
says so,
So,
little red record in the corner.
okay, good. Because I thought, okay, where is my recording? I hope it's still recording. Okay. So you can conclude our discussion, Susan.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for joining me today, Agnes. I'm sorry
Oh,
we
it's a
missed
pleasure.
April.
And it's
Yeah.
nice meeting somebody out there in, oh, was it Ohio?
Yep.
Yes.
Cincinnati. We're almost in Kentucky. We're just north of the river. So.
Okay,
Yeah,
but you know, enjoy your weekend. Nice talking to you. This is going to be a pleasant one and a learned discussion coming from you as well.
Yeah. Thank you very much. And
Thank you.
Be in touch soon. And again, thanks for getting this recorded, and fingers crossed on the uploading.
Fingers crossed, yes. I will save this as soon as I stop the recording.
Okay.
Here now, okay?
All right. Happy Easter.
Happy Easter too. Bye.
Bye.